It's finally open. One of the biggest thrilling machines in the country just started pass holder previews and you want to get on it. Iron Gwazi is now open for 2022 and you want to make the most out of your Busch Gardens visit. You won't want to miss my tips and tricks on how to save money and get the most out of your Florida trip to ride Iron Gwazi. When scheduling a trip to Florida, there's a lot that comes into consideration. You got so many parks to visit, so many things to do, and if it's your first time, you're going to want to make sure that you've got enough time to do as much as possible. I mean, you got Iron Gwazi and the whole Busch Gardens Tampa, where you can spend at least a full day, and you got Disney as well as Universal with velocicoaster, and there's even SeaWorld Orlando and 2 fun spot parks you're gonna want to check out. So how do you make sure that you can do everything that you want to do on your trip without blowing the bank? For starters, you're going to want to plan with enough time to get everywhere you can. Not everyone will be able to go to Florida for a long enough time to do all these amazing parks. Each one of them could be a trip of its own, but if your goal is to get on Iron Gwazi, and I'd say one of the best options you can do is get the 2-park ticket with SeaWorld Orlando and Busch Gardens. SeaWorld owns Busch Gardens Tampa, so if you get a 2-park ticket, you get each ticket for a lot cheaper, which allows you to go to Busch Gardens Tampa one day and SeaWorld Orlando another, as long as both are within a 2-week range. That means you get to visit 2 of the greatest parks in the country in one trip. SeaWorld Orlando also just opened Icebreaker, so you'd be able to get on that too. It's not the best ride in the world, but when you consider the park has Mako and Manta, it's definitely worth a visit. Also, once you're going to SeaWorld, you get access to a ton of discounts on hotels across Orlando. That means you can stay in Orlando and travel the 1-hour ride to Tampa to visit Busch Gardens. SeaWorld even offers a free shuttle to Busch Gardens. Busch Gardens is full of things to do. I mean, obviously you got Iron Gwazi because that's your whole reason for planning your trip. But then there's Cheetah Hunt, one of the best launch coasters in the country. There's Mantu, one of the best inverts in the country. There's also Shikra, the first B&M dive coaster ever. There really is so much to do at Busch Gardens Tampa. You may need more than one day to experience the full park. I mean, there's a ton of cool animals and shows, and their coaster collection is one of the best in the world. SeaWorld and Busch Gardens are 2 of my favorite parks to go to, and both parks are packed with things to do. To make the most out of your day, you want to arrive at the park as early as possible. You want to maximize your day to make sure that you can get the most out of your day. You want to get on as many coaches as possible and also have enough time to look around and soak everything in. If you're looking to get footage or pictures, you want to include that time too. For SeaWorld Orlando, you don't really have to worry about timing since there are only 4 roller coasters, 1 log flume, and 1 kiddie coaster, so not much to do in terms of rides. Sometimes Mako or Manta can draw some pretty long lines, and Icebreaker may get a long line too, since it's a brand new coaster, but that shouldn't really matter. Even if there's an hour-long line on some of the coasters, you still should be able to experience most of the things the park has to offer in a single day. Though there may not be a ton of rides at SeaWorld, the scenery and shows definitely make up for it. And the coasters they have are some of the best of their kind. Mako is one of the best roller coasters in the country and is my favorite B&M coaster as of now. It's most people's favorite hypercoaster, ranking in the top 50 in 2021's Vote Coasters. SeaWorld is definitely not a park to neglect, and if you're going to Busch Gardens, you can usually get SeaWorld tickets for just another $30 when you purchase both park tickets together on the site. So as long as you're planning to visit both parks within 2 weeks, this is a great deal. But this video isn't about SeaWorld, so let's get back to maximizing your day at Busch Gardens. For Busch Gardens, you want to make sure that your day is planned out really well, because there are 10 roller coasters to do in this park, and they are absolutely amazing. And now with Iron Gwazi open, no doubt this park is going to be jammed. The standard advice for a regular park to maximize your day will be to head to the back of the park and make your way towards the front, since most people head from the front of the park towards the back. This advice works for most parks since you can beat the crowds to the back of the park and only do the front once everyone moves towards the back. However, for Busch Gardens, this is not exactly possible. Busch Gardens Tampa is basically a circle, so you can't exactly start in the back of the park and make your way towards the front. I've been to Busch Gardens recently and I will tell you the best way to maximize your day. If you get to the park at opening, I would head straight to Iron Gwazi. If it's open, ride it, and then continue through the park. Then I would head straight to the part of the park where Tigress and Shikra are. Ride those coasters and then head to Falcon's Fury. Falcon's Fury can get a long line later in the day, so if you can get there before lunch or during lunch, you shouldn't have to wait too long. Falcon's Fury is one of the craziest drop towers in the world. Not only is 335 feet, making it one of the tallest, it also tilts you down or drops you down this insane drop. You gotta get on this intimate machine. It is amazing. Sand Serpent and Scorpion are in that area too, but the lines on these shouldn't be crazy. If you're running late, it might be a good idea to skip these since Sand Serpent is just a standard wild mouse you can get everywhere. And Scorpion isn't anything crazy. It is one of the first looping coasters in the United States by Schwarzkopf and is a very basic ride. It has just one vertical loop, one of its kind of a historic roller coaster, so you may want to get a ride on it. It does have a lower height requirement which allows younger thrill seekers to get their first inversion. You're also gonna want to ride Kumba, my favorite and one of the best B&M sit-down coasters operating today. Kumba's line usually isn't anything huge, so don't worry too much about that. Then I'd head towards Cheetah Hunt. This coaster always gets long lines. Sometimes the longest in the park, but it's definitely worth it. This is one of my favorite roller coasters ever, and when I rode it this year, I was lucky to ride it right after it opened after being down for hours. So I only had to wait about 10 minutes. This ride can get over an hour-long line, but there's a reason for it. This ride is kind of the velocicoaster before velocicoaster. It has everything you want in a coaster. Launches, airtime, an inversion, amazing drop, and so much more. This coaster also has a low height requirement, so it's a great stepping coaster for some. Don't get fooled by this coaster though. It's one of my favorite rides, and that airtime hill right after the third launch is one of the best airtime hills I've ever experienced, and I've been on El Toro. After Cheetah Hunt, you can go on Cobra's Curse, the Family Mac ride spinning coaster, and then all you have left is Mantu, probably the best B&M invert in existence. After that, you're free to get some re-rides on your favorite coasters, take the train ride, go on the long flume or river rapids, and so much more. The trick with this park is getting the long line coasters done when they don't have such long lines. Iron Gwazi, Shikra, Tigress, Cheetah Hunt, Mantu, and Falcon's Fury will have the longest lines in the park, so riding 4 of them at the beginning of the day before the park gets crowded, and the other 2 closer to the front entrance towards the end of the day will allow you to hopefully get everything done in a single day. Keep in mind, with Iron Gwazi opening, this park is gonna have a lot of people there. So be prepared to give up rides on some of the weaker coasters to be able to get rides on the larger ones. Iron Gwazi is obviously a must-do, as well as Cheetah Hunt, Mantu, and Kumba. And if you're into drop towers, you gotta do Falcon's Fury too. Parks are usually most crowded on weekends, so if you're able to go on a Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday, the park will be a lot emptier, so definitely keep that in mind when planning your trip. Once you're in Florida, you may want to pay a visit to Universal, where you can ride one of the best coasters ever with velocicoaster, as well as the most expensive coaster in the world, with Hagrid's rumored to cost a whopping $300 million. There are also 2 fun spot coasters in Orlando with some solid coasters you may want to check out. Is SeaWorld adding more new coasters this year to their parks after Iron Gwazi? Click here, cause this SeaWorld's new 2023 coaster is insane.